All right, here we go. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We got enough people in here. So tonight isn't about conclusions. It's about a question already circulating online. What if Charlie Kirk didn't die the way that we were told? What if his death was staged or he's still alive? That's an extreme claim, and it should be treated carefully, not embraced and not dismissed without examination. In recent months, an alternative narrative has spread across social media and independent investigations. Much of it is speculation, but some of it raises real questions. Conflicting timelines, unclear medical details, no autopsy that's public, restricted or unreleased evidence, and witness accounts that don't fully align. We're not saying this theory is necessarily 100% true. We're saying that it exists and it merits scrutiny. Staged deaths are historically documented in cases involving intelligence operations or institutional risk. That doesn't mean it happened here, but it means that it's not impossible. So for such a scenario to work, it requires narrative control, limited access to the body, selective evidence release, and a motive. Supporters believe elements of that are present in this case. Critics say that interpretation goes too far. Tonight, we'll separate fact from speculation, examine where the official story is strong and where questions remain, and discuss what evidence would be needed to confirm or definitively debunk this theory. Investigation starts with unanswered questions. All right. If you haven't met these people, we have Kelly Raybon below me, if I'm seeing the squares correctly. We have Jordan to my left and Algeist to the bottom left. And you've probably seen both of them. They've been on a few different channels now. And Jordan's a little bit newer to the scene, and he does have his own YouTube channel as well now. But you can find all of them on X and also on YouTube. And it's Jordan Henshaw. And I'll put this information in more detail down in the description and also later in some banners. But what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go through Jordan's information and then do a recap on Algeist. And we're going to see where they agree. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're also going to see where they disagree. And also, we're going to examine the other theories and why they don't think that they're legitimate. All right. So, Jordan, floor is all yours.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me on, looking at my work. And thanks so much for having me on, looking at my work. So what I do with my work is I study the shirt behavior and the necklace and chain behavior. I'm still kind of low in the frame here. And what I do is I try to reproduce it in my studio here with this mannequin and also with my own shirt and with my own body. I've done about 100 test fires so far that I believe reproduce the shirt behavior and the chain behavior essentially perfectly. So that's why I think the faked death theory has a lot of weight, because we're able to explain the shirt behavior and reproduce and demonstrate the shirt behavior using not so much a Hollywood squib, but a Hollywood prosthetic with a blood delivery system underneath. And the reason for the shirt behavior and the chain and pendant behavior is related directly to a problem with the prosthetic, with the prosthetics application that is not found in Hollywood, because in Hollywood you have cameras, you have editing, you have CGI to solve certain problems. But what I figured out after taking an online course on squibs essentially helped me figure out that problem. And in thinking about solutions to that problem, I realized that the shirt behavior makes a lot more sense. So I will go ahead and do my presentation real fast. I'm going to go into PowerPoint here and slideshow play from start and share my screen like that. Does it look okay?
You're good to go.
Perfect. Thank you. So the super cool thing is I started off not knowing why the shirt billows up, why the necklace flies up, why there appears to be white vapor coming out of his shirt, why the back of his shirt puffs out first in some frames, in some videos, and why the blood looks super thick. And literally no one can explain these things from any existing theory, in my opinion. Algeist said it was a squib, but that didn't really explain any of this stuff to my knowledge. But because I didn't know anything about squibs, I went and became an expert, in quotes, on squibs. And now because I did that, I can tell you why it cannot be faked unless the shirt billows up, unless the necklace flies up, unless there's white vapor coming out, unless the back of the shirt puffs out first, unless the blood is very thick. In fact, if any of these things were not seen on Charlie, it would actually falsify the faked death theory, because I cannot get the gag to work without those little anomalies. So we may actually have not one theory of many here, but the accurate demonstrable explanation, the explanation that even Neil deGrasse Tyson would have to support. So first, you always want to look at the observables that you see in the video footage. First, we hear a supersonic crack, which Algeist did the math on and found out that the round went into the van. And then Charlie's shirt is pulled up almost to his left ear on frame 1, about like that. And then the shirt begins to relax on frame 2 as we see silver by the ear around right here. That little silver piece that seems to pop out. And then no wound is visible on the exposed neck in frame 3, only silver. And I can't really show too much of the image of Charlie here because of demonetization concerns, but you can follow along in the video yourself if you need to. And then a red area appears on Charlie's neck under his left ear on frame 4. You can't really see it in the photo, but that's when the red circle appears. And then Charlie's pose resembles decorticate posturing by frame 10, with his knees touched in and his fists kind of coming up. And then several frames later, blood begins pouring out of the red area. So in short, the shirt yanks up first, and then the necklace launches up and out, and then the neck wound appears. So we're going to look at a few proposed explanations real fast. I'll go through this fast though, because we're going to talk about these more later. But we look at the cavitation theory for the shirt and necklace behavior. Does the shirt yank up? No, it does not. Does the necklace launch up? No, it does not. Does the neck wound appear? Maybe, because we don't know if that specific round would cause exactly the damage to his neck, but it is possible. And
based on, sorry to cut you off there, but based on actually, I'm gonna turn off my second speaker here. Whoops. But based on anyone that does firearms for a living, teaches them, or was in the military, that does not look like an entrance wound from anything except a monster-sized round, which would not be a 30-06. So it doesn't align with most people. That's why so many people have an issue with trying to explain the 30-06, because nothing fits with it. The other part of this is too, if you don't know what cavitation is, he's referring to the gunshot, right? The bullet goes through, hits the body, the fluid in the body reacts to it and expands in a very rapid fashion.
Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it. And I think my image is actually blocking the credit there, but the image I'm showing you there is taken from Range Day Barreau on YouTube. So that is the credit for that. And then proposed explanations on the exploding is another proposed explanation is the exploding mic theory. We're going to talk about that some more later. But we look at that, and on the right here, I have an image where I simulated the exploding mic. I don't have access to shaped charges, so what I actually did is I just taped a hose, my CO2 pendant gun hose, to the shirt in that area, and I plugged it with a pendant and I activated it while filming. That's where this image comes from. That's the best replication I could come up with. But does the shirt yank up? No, it does not. Does the necklace launch up? No, it does not. Does the neck wound appear? No, because the location of the exploding microphone does not have line of sight to the neck wound, in my opinion. But we'll talk about that more later. The next proposed explanation is the pendant gun, like I am supporting. Does the shirt yank up? Yes, it does. Does the necklace launch up? Yes, it does. Does the neck wound appear? Maybe. And I say maybe because I've not demonstrated yet that I can get that behavior to be associated with a neck wound. But we certainly do have a projectile moving between 30 and 50 feet per second moving towards that wound. So it gets a maybe, but we get two greens and one orange. So where does the movement start, in my opinion, is the most important question to ask in this case. In the exploding mic, it starts at the microphone or the right shoulder. With cavitation, the movement starts in the neck. With the CO2 pendant gun theory, it starts at the pendant. And on Charlie, we see that it starts at the pendant. And also I'll give credit to John Bray for basically the motion highlighter that I have on here. That is his code that is doing that. I made some modifications to the code to make it draw the arrows a little bit bigger on the left. But that is John Bray's code doing that work. So we see that the pendant reproduces essentially the same behavior we see on Charlie, while the other two explanations fail. Therefore, the pendant gun is the most similar. It doesn't mean that I'm right, but it does mean we need to look at the pendant gun more. So other details, or at least the location of the pendant as the source of what I call an overpressure event under the shirt. So other details are white mist. I can reproduce the white mist with the CO2 pendant gun. That is condensation caused by the rapid expansion of the gas. And I can reproduce that over and over and over again. We have the silver piece by the neck. With the CO2 pendant gun theory, you have the pendant traveling through that area at about that time. And we also have the pendant inside of the wound. So that makes sense. And pieces dangling from the wound. That also works with the pendant gun theory, because the whole objective is to launch that pendant and associated hardware into that wound. And then we also have the blood. We are going to do a demonstration later that will demonstrate the blood in concert with the pendant gun. And then we have the apparent decorticate posturing. I've done an acting performance myself that replicates, I think, pretty close to what Charlie did. So I do believe that the acting can be done, especially when you have the pendant going off at the exact same, at the exact same time. And you can see that on my YouTube channel on the video where in the thumbnail I'm standing up. We're going to talk about the microphone theory stuff later. And that's it for my presentation for now. Go back to me. There we go.
Now
So that was my presentation.
Yeah, and I was going to show the video of you with your paintball gun making your shirt puff up and everything on YouTube.
Nice work, Jordan. I thought that was very, very helpful. I think the audience was enjoying that too.
Thank you. And then I can go, yeah, if you already have it queued up.
Yep, and hopefully it's not too loud, audience. But this is him using his paintball gun right now. He's gotten a little bit more advanced and has more things set up, as you'll see in other videos of his. But just check this out here really quick. This is him recreating the way the shirt moved. And you can see the white mist come out as well. And he's beating himself up for you guys to test this out.
I look like a terrorist in that one.
All right.
Take one for the team, Jordan.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's got a great sense of humor too.
All right, so now that explains kind of the shirt movement. And like you said, he's going to go into the experiment a little bit later and show, it's going to be water in this case, but kind of show how that system would work for faking what we see with the blood and everything else. Now, Algeist, as you know, a lot of you know, if you don't know him, he is a a classical physicist. And he's done a lot of work on the shot, the audio forensics. He has a great video on his YouTube channel that explains it. He's also done 3 different videos with me and also a video with Jesse on Fire where he gets pretty in-depth into all this stuff. But I would like him, he has some updates. So Algeist, did you want to take it away?
Yeah, I guess it's best if I just share my screen now and hope I can share my full screen. Hope you can hear me and see me. Yeah, okay. So I'm the guy with this Excel table here. So I made this huge Excel table. I presented it to you maybe a month ago or 6 weeks ago here on TriggerSmart. I was here twice. Yeah, how did I come up with this? I went on this archive page that most of you probably know, archive.org. Maybe I can just, where is it? This page here. So here, then you can just click on a video. This will open up. Yeah, for example, here we have Bartholomew, this one here that you know. So this one here, and here is where I got all the videos from, and then I extracted the audio from these videos. This is what this looks like, an extracted audio. Here I have a crack, and here I have a thump. Then I take the distance here. Now I don't have Audacity open. This is a screenshot from Audacity because this messes with the streaming software. So this is only a screenshot, but so I can, in Audacity, I can measure this time distance here. And then I put these values here in these cells, and then I calculate the crack thumb distances. And I did this for all of these recordings. So I marked them here. All these recordings have numbers. And these are the recordings that I used in my video on my channel because they have the best audio quality. And with these recordings, I could calculate that the shot went into the trunk with 100% certainty beyond any doubt, because the calculations just perfectly match the values in Audacity, what we can observe in Audacity from the audio tracks, just perfectly matches it. And this Kirk shot option just doesn't it doesn't reflect reality, because the audio observations are in conflict with the Kirk shot option. What does this mean in simple words? Kirk wasn't shot. The bullet simply was not fired into his direction. No, it was fired into a trunk. And this is the vantage point. This is a new graphic that I just created. Many people asked me, oh, how could this ever be? There are so many people in front of the trunk. Yeah, this is a different vantage point. This is a vantage point of recording 6. So this is this vantage point. It's a bit of a different vantage point. And what we are looking now is the vantage point from the sniper. And we can see here that this Asian cop is this blue square here. This Asian cop right here on the edge of this frame here. Then we have Brian Harpole. This is this square here, and this photographer girl is this object here, the square object. And then we have this dude here next to the car. This is this one. And as you can see, we have an open alley that this sniper can then shoot into. And he shot most likely into a block of ballistic rubber. So they recovered the bullet. Definitely, I think when I say they, I mean U.S. intelligence. U.S. intelligence, the prosecutors, FBI says there was no bullet, but U.S. intelligence, which is most likely CIA, maybe in cooperation with FBI, who knows, they definitely recovered the bullet because it landed in this trunk here, most likely in ballistic rubber.
Now, one important point too that a lot of people aren't. I don't like I said. I don't know how many people have seen your full theory, but another thing that happened during this time period when the shot happened is that the trunk opened. Yeah. Then the shot happened, and then the trunk closed.
Yeah. So this is right before the shot. This is a screenshot right before the shot. Before we could hear the shot, and before that the trunk was closed. You have it open. Maybe you can. You said before you have it open. Maybe you can show it.
Yep, I can show that here really quick.
Yeah. Should I end my screen share or?
We'll see if it'll let me add mine in place. Yep, I can pull. No, you can leave yours going. All right, here we go. So we'll play a piece of this. This is his video again. This is on his YouTube channel. So make sure you go over there and check him out, show him some love. But let me know if it's too loud.
Who shot Charlie Kirk? Nobody. According to physics, they shot into the trunk.
Over the last 10 years, counting or not counting gang violence.
Welcome back to the studio, Audio Detectives. Yes.
And that's him all dressed up and fancy.
Love it.
Yeah, what a masterpiece. I'm still proud of it. Yeah. Thank you,
it's a lot of work.
The sound effects are great.
Thank you.
I mean, the tumble was really good too, actually.
Yeah, it's totally realistic, right?
It was.
Better than real life, I think.
You just needed a little Dan Flood in there.
Hollywood.
Yeah, that
So
wouldn't
now-
have, yeah, with the Macarena and so on, to give him some rhythm before that. Yeah, that would have been better. Yeah, I get the idea. Yeah.
Now, I
Maybe
think it's
the next
important
video,
for you
yeah.
to let people know about the other scientists that you've talked to
Yeah.
and what they thought about your information.
Do I have it open? Yeah.
Can I summarize real fast? Because
Yes.
it's kind of technical. I just want to summarize what it basically says. The crack thump. So you have a supersonic rifle shooting a round downrange. It's going to make a supersonic crack, and then you're going to have the thump of the rifle explosion, basically. And what he's saying is that when you measure the crack thump from multiple microphones at different locations on the plane, you can sort of triangulate exactly where the shot could and could not have come from. And he's saying that it could not have come from, or it could not have been in the angle of Charlie Kirk. It could have only been in the angle of the van. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Would it
This is
would
the
it be
only possible
helpful?
option.
Oh, sorry. Would it be helpful to play that sound just for the audience to hear in case it's been a minute since they've heard it?
You mean the shot sound or
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
crack thump.
oh,
Yeah.
correct thumb? Yeah, I don't have. Okay, I don't have Audacity open.
I'll give you a second. So while you're doing that, I'll go over the poll. So we had a
Mhm.
poll saying, do you think that Charlie was either assassinated, in other words, he's gone, or do you think that he faked his death? So the result is 61% say he's gone and 39% say that he faked it. So it was 50-50 probably a month ago. So there's still a lot of people hanging out. I mean, 40%, that's a pretty high percentage.
A bit biased though for this stream.
Now we're going to ask, what was the question they want to ask? If Erica Kirk did what? Let's see. Is she grieving like anyone who married would expect a wife? Oh, okay. Do you think Erica Kirk is grieving like a widow? All right. All right. So, so what has happened behind the scenes is there's a ton of research that you guys obviously don't see. And there's a lot of people working on a lot of different pieces all at the same time, all different theories. And one thing that's been happening with this is once Algeist had this come out, he actually told people, if you want to look at my data or whatever, you can. So he shared it with some other people. And we actually we can't say certain people's names, obviously, for obvious reasons, but we had another physicist reach out from an American university, and he wanted to see the data and test the data and really run through it and make sure that he could validate it as well. And Algeist, did you want to go over the results of that?
Yeah, I have his email here, so there's no name of him, but essentially he told me that he also made an analysis, a crack thump analysis, and this is essentially just preliminary results, as he calls that. So he wants to perform 7 tests total. He has completed the first, the second, and the fourth. So in the first test was a crack thump analysis as well. But he did not just check my Excel spreadsheet. No, he built his own calculations completely from scratch, completely on his own, and he came up with almost exactly the same results. He says the results only vary slightly. So he says that here in this paragraph, I don't know if you can see my screen. Can you see it, or should I share it again? Where is it?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're not doxing anyone.
Can you see it at screen now, or
Not
No,
yet.
you have to show it.
Okay, now you should see. I should see that. Where is it? Yeah, can you see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, this is his email. Okay. Yeah, and here, what I wanted to show you, so he plans to make 7.
Can you zoom in that a little bit on the bottom right? Like slide the back. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So these are the 7 methods that he has done or plans to do. He has already done the first, the second, and the fourth. And the first is a crack thump analysis that he made completely from scratch. So he did not just check this spreadsheet here that I sent him. No, he did not do that. He essentially ignored it, and he completely built his own spreadsheet, completely on his own. And he said, yeah, I have confirmed your results for method 1, crack thumb, using a completely independent algebraic method without looking at any of your calculations to ensure that the results are independent. So this means that my results here are already confirmed by a professor. Yeah, and this is, of course, very exciting for me. But let's continue here.
Well, and just to be clear too, that's now the third for physicist, because Jesse on Fire also had another physicist go through it as well. So now that's 3 physicists that agree.
Can I ask real fast? You say physicist; it's a pretty general term. Can you be more specific on what his?
He works as an associate professor at a U.S. American university for physics, and he has made, I don't know, I think I don't know, I have to guess.
What kind of specialty?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I don't want to say too much. I think
yeah, we don't want to get too detailed.
Okay. Yeah,
we don't want to. Yeah.
I think he has several publications. I think up to 10 publications, and so peer-reviewed publications, that is. Yeah, and the peer reviewers, I don't know if, for people that are not familiar with scientific publishing, the peer reviewers are also professors. So yeah, he's a pretty established physicist, and this is why I'm very happy. Yeah, because this validates all my work. But to continue here, I was really surprised that what I did, so this entire Excel spreadsheet, what I did here, that to him, this is only one single analysis, and he already made, or he does 6 other methods, and he completed method 2, which is, I think, what he does here, do I have it open here? I think this one here. So what he does here is he essentially says, so he essentially says, so these are the 2 options, Kirk and trunk. And then he takes recording 13, a smartphone recording, and he says, we should see it here in this audio analysis of there are some echoes. So this is the crack. The crank is just the cone. So I hope you remember this. Do I have it open? So here with these cones, the cones are always if I zoom in a bit, the cones are always the crack, and this round thing here are always the thumb. Yeah, I hope you remember this from my video. And here it already gets a bit complicated, but here in Audacity, so this is the crack, this is the cone. And then he says, okay, so the cone runs into microphones. And it runs into the microphones of that smartphone that records it. This is the big crack here. So for example, for the trunk shot, we have this cone. Imagine a cone here. Yeah, that moves forward. And it runs into that smartphone. And it typically runs out like that. Yeah. So this then creates this one here, this crack. But then this cone also runs into the microphone of Hunter Kozak. So, and since Hunter Kozak, the microphone of Hunter Kozak is connected to this PA system, this sound then also gets echoed by the speaker. So this here is the speaker. And then it gets caught up again by the microphone of Hunter Kozak, and you have some kind of echo feedback loop. This is how he argues. So we can see the feedback loop here. So these are all echoes fed by the microphone of Hunter Kozak in the feedback loop of the speaker that I just showed. So speaker puts it out, microphone picks it up through the PA system, gets back into the speaker, and again into the microphone, and so on. And this is what we can see here. And he then argues that this gap here between the crack and this feedback loop shows us that it must have been a trunk shot. Because if it had come from the other side, if we take this cone here of the Kirk shot, then this gap would be much smaller. a lot smaller, maybe, yeah, would maybe hardly be visible, because here, this crack signal essentially runs into the microphone of Hunter Kozak first and then hits the smartphone. And this is a completely different one. So for the green one, the sequence is first it hits the smartphone, then it hits the mic of Hunter Kozak. But for the Kirk shot option, it's the other way around. First it hits the mic of Hunter Kozak, then it hits the smartphone. Now you maybe cannot really see this so well here in this picture, so I made another picture. Where is it? So here, where I think, where you can see it a bit better with the cones. So these are the cones. And yeah, so here you can see that it hits the microphone of Hunter Kozak first, and then later on it hits the phone. And I guess just by intuition, you can then already see that this crack here would be, yeah, I wouldn't say maybe after this, the first echo, but it's clear that this would be way, way shorter. And he calculated this even. He said, yeah, it should be around maximum 9 milliseconds. And I already disagree with him in detail. I think he grants way too much to this option. I think it should be way shorter, maybe only at max 4 milliseconds, but okay, he says 9 milliseconds. And for a trunk shot option, it should be around 18 milliseconds. And these 18 milliseconds, that's pretty much exactly the gap that we see here. So this also confirms the trunk shot. And
So now
rules
this
out the
isn't-
Kirk shot. And it's kind of interesting because it's not exactly 18. It should be 16 milliseconds if it was perfect, maybe. And this is where we make really progress, because now I can say, okay, here in this picture, I can say, okay, the shot didn't go directly into the middle of the trunk. No, it must have been maybe 10 centimeters or a foot to the right here, a couple of centimeters more to the right to match these values of this mic echo analysis. Yeah, so this is pretty exciting. So we're making real progress. We really zeroing in on the details here. I mean, this is absolutely great. And then, yeah, what I think he made another one. Which one was it? I have to look it up. The other one was the microphone echo effect and the clock synchronized time. Yeah, this is this has to do. He essentially says, okay, he thinks he found he thinks he found a drone. Essentially, he found a drone with a speaker that contaminated the results on the Northern Auditorium. So what is the Northern Auditorium? The Northern Auditorium is this part of the auditorium. And here you can see that I was also a bit clueless why so many of these recordings on this side here, which is the northern side, I just turned it around here. But this is north and this is south. And so many on this northern side have such a bad audio quality. And he says, essentially, must have been a drone right around here, 20 or 19 meters above ground. So he calculated this very precisely. And this drone must have shot some kind of ultrasonic contamination signal into this direction.
Now, this
And
is really
this
interesting.
Is really,
Well-
most people don't know ultrasonic, so I have to explain this in detail. But this is essentially the reason why these recordings are so bad. And this is also another bit of a discussion that we have, because I said, okay, I thought they did something with the speaker here because there were 4 speakers here and a 5th speaker here. And I thought maybe they somehow had the speaker replay the sound or something. This was my explanation. But he says, no, I think there's a drone. And I think in this, I think we already found the drone. I hope I can find it here. Where is it?
Well, while you're doing that, it's really interesting
this
too,
is the
because
drone- this is the
George
drone
Webb
that-
and Jason Goodman were digging into some other stuff about drones that was going on. They found a flight that intersects with some other flights that other people are also digging into that are the type that release drones. And we know that there's allegedly some connection between Erica's mother or father and their defense contracts in Fort Huachuca, and they do this kind of stuff for a living there. right? They test them out. They create top secret drones, electronic warfare, EMPs. And the fact that this was found by this unnamed professor is interesting. That he thinks that there was some kind of drone interference during this. And Jason Goodman and some other people think that there were drones released and above this area during that time period.
Yeah.
Is that the Hades system?
Part of it, yes.
Yeah.
There's, but so this is a drone here. This is right before the shot, and
Yeah.
so you can see the drone in the exact place that he calculated, and then the drones fly. The drone takes off and just escapes upwards. But I don't think this is a drone actually that Jason Goodman accepted, as far as I know. Jason, I hope you don't hate me. Feel free to correct me. But I think Jason's thought this was just a dot
A
or an
bird.
insect. But I absolutely respect Jason's work, and it's great. And I think he really broke the ice there back then in the weeks after 9/10 when he found these drones. So Jason did an awesome job. But on this particular drone, I think he said that he didn't think it was a drone. But now we have a professor saying, no, this is a drone, and it sent an ultrasonic. Ultrasonic is an acoustic signal to contaminate audio recordings on the northern side of the auditorium here. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
And that's significant because if I remember correctly in your video, you were saying that the ones to Charlie's right didn't really falsify the shot to Charlie, but the ones on his left do falsify the shot to Charlie, right?
Yes, this is absolutely significant, especially this one here. This is the golden one. This is the Bartholomew recording. This is actually the one. This recording here. This is the Bartholomew perspective. So this is the golden one that I also used because it's just so precise and the gap is just so big there. So this is the perfect spot. So if for some reason you wanted to falsify this entire Kirk shot narrative, then this would have been the perfect spot. And it's almost a miracle that Adam Bartholomew just walked randomly into this spot, I think, with his high-end microphone and just recorded that just minutes earlier. I think he went there just 10 minutes earlier, and maybe they just didn't know that, and they already had given the go signal to pull off this entire staged shooting, and they simply didn't expect that someone with a high-end microphone would walk into this place here. And this was the golden one, and also, but this recording 7. So this is the one where I say it was just doctored with AI. Or I guess at this point it's kind of proven that it was doctored by AI. So with these artifacts there was the video of the Seth Boykin and Jason Goodman debate. And here we also have almost a crystal clear audio. And I don't know, I think they made a mistake here. They forgot to just mess with the audio before they released that artifact video. I think this was also a mistake by them. And these are the 2 recordings on the left side that I used. And yeah, this professor said that he could somehow remove this disturbance signal or this contamination signal, and he could use a lot of these recordings then on this side that I didn't use because it was too risky for me. But he said, no, I cleaned it up and I can totally use them. And they also say it was shot into the trunk. So it's a total, yeah.
Can I try to summarize? Can we go back to first I want to say that document you were showing, I think it was a PDF. That looks really professional. That's a really well-designed document.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what the other professor did up?
Yeah, he made this. He made this and sent it to Matt.
That looks like it's straight from a textbook or something. That's really, really nice. The other thing I wanted, can you stay on that diagram right there? Perfect. I wanted to summarize what I think I understand. This is my first time seeing it. What I'm envisioning is this is like a pond, and you have ripples on the pond, and I'm imagining the different microphones as buoys. And what I think you're saying is that you have different the different buoys in different spots, and depending on where the ripples are coming from, it's either going to hit one buoy first or the other buoy first. And you're saying that because it's hitting the one buoy first, it means it's coming from one angle, and because it's not hitting the other buoy first, it's coming from, or you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm thinking of it as ripples on a pond and we have multiple buoys and one of them should start moving first given this angle, or the other one should stop. Is that correct?
Yeah,
There's more to it than that.
maybe it's a bit too complicated even.
Yeah.
This is a bit too advanced maybe, because you think sound waves and so on. No, it's just, you can't just imagine it just like, yeah, you can't imagine it like maybe like race cars or something, right? Or just walking there or running there. So imagine you run from here to here, and then you run into the smartphone first and into Kozak's mic second. It's a very simple sequence, yeah?
Yeah. And
And
this
then
is
from
important.
the other side, it's the opposite.
And this is important because the other analysis, it's just math and like really, really small numbers, but it's not like qualitative, like this one and then that one. But this one is saying like definitively, it can't just be like the error in calculations. It's this one must come first. It's like it either is or is not coming from that direction.
Yes. This is his conclusion here. He says, conclusion, this is not consistent with the closer approach of the Kirk shot trajectory, but it is fully consistent with the greater distance associated with the closest approach of the trunk shot trajectory. So yeah, this is his conclusion here. And
is that document going to be published in any way, or?
Yeah, these are just preliminary results. Because he essentially said, I think he said this somewhere on the second page. Yeah, he said many people are working into this, and I felt it would be useful to communicate this to you now, since knowing about the contaminating event flashbang from the directional speaker of the drone greatly simplifies calculations and could be of great benefit to you and others. So he knows that others are investigating this as well. Many people are following this, and he says, yeah, this information can be very useful to others, because I think a lot of people are really confused. Many people that want to redo the Excel spreadsheet most likely are really confused why so many recordings here have such a bad audio quality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think this is his motivation. Yeah, I think it's a really a noble guy, a really great guy, I think.
Does he intend to publish it?
He will send us a final report where he will just complete all of these methods here.
Okay.
So he has completed 1, 2, and 4, and then he will do the other. He will do 3, 5, 6, and 7, and then he will send us this final report. And yeah, he says, which I intend to include in the final report. And he says it will take maybe another month. I think he again says it on the second side. Yeah, it would take a month or more. But I think, yeah, in 1 month or 2 months, we will have the final report, and it will be very interesting. And once again, I think I said it before, I was really impressed how much he went beyond everything I did, because my Excel spreadsheet for him is just one bullet point here. And it will be very exciting.
And if I can say, if he's watching, which I assume he probably is, thank you for all that work. I know that document had to have taken a very long time to put together. So we all thank you for it.
Yeah.
And just real quick, before we get too much deeper into stuff, I just want to take a second. Excuse me. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. And we're going to go top to bottom. Make sure you guys go check out Jordan Henshaw, Henshaw on YouTube and X. I think there's some numbers after it on X, but if you search his name, you'll find him. Check out Algeist Nydream. It's easier to show you than to spell it. It's down here on the bottom.
Algeist Nydream.
Yep. NYDR. Well, Dream. Nydream. Algeist Nydream. And I'll put all this stuff in the description after, but I can't put it on right now. And then Kelly Rabon. That's Keli Rabon, Rabon. Make sure you go check them out. Show them some love and subscribe. And let me get rid of this here. All right. Okay, so now we've talked about, and I see you guys have a ton of comments. We'll get to questions and comments here in a moment. But I want to make sure that a lot of people are saying, well, what about John Bray and the microphone theory? So John, so as things are sitting right now, I'm kind of preemptively saying this. It's not 100% set yet, but I'm going to have John Bray and possibly also Valhalla VFT on Monday on the show with me. And Valhalla had some really good questions about the shape charges, and he has experience with them. And John has been given those questions. and they're both going to kind of talk about it. We're not really going to debate, but we're going to try and see how we can make it all fit together. So that might be coming on Monday. That's the plan right now. But the way everything's set up right now is these two guys, obviously, since they have this theory that he's alive, have some questions or ideas about the microphone theory that don't necessarily make it plausible to them. So now we're going to talk about that. And for people this here, Valhalla's a snake. So this is interesting. So if you look back through the history of basically any YouTuber, you are going to see dirt of some sort. And the longer they've been doing it, the more you're going to see. And in the area that he's in, that Paramount's in, Ian, like I even see people here talking about Ian good and Ian bad. I mean, that's kind of just the way it is. Some of the stuff you're going to agree with and some of the stuff you're not. So, you can have your thoughts on him. But in this case, what he's doing is he's trying to assist John in figuring out the missing pieces of that theory. So that's kind of what the point of that is. Now, whatever he did with, the whole Mitch thing and all that stuff, that's stuff he's addressed. That's stuff that he's already talked about. So we will see. But we'll go from there and then we'll see how it turns out on Monday. But besides that, all right, now what we want, I don't know how you guys want to approach this, but we want to talk about anything about the mic theory that you guys want to address.
Sure, if I can go first.
Yeah.
Yep.
What draws a lot of people to the exploding mic theory is the shirt behavior. And I'm really low in the screen again. Is the shirt
You're
behavior.
good.
They see the shirt billow out, and at first glance, and when you look at it, it looks like something is exploding underneath the shirt. And so we say, okay, what's underneath the shirt? Well, his microphone is underneath the shirt. I can't get that to work, but his microphone is underneath the shirt right here. They know about that. It seems like it's large enough to house an explosive. So they say it must be the microphone that's exploding. But what I say is, okay, yes, I agree that the shirt behavior indicates that there is an overpressure event underneath the shirt. But what I do is I look at it and say, what do we see happening on the very first frame? Sometimes it's the shirt puffing out in the back, but on his front, the very first thing we see is this part of his shirt moving up like this. That is the very first thing we see. It's not this, it's not this, it's this. And so what I say is we should look at that area on the chest, since that is the very first thing that's moving. And that's what I do with my theory. And I can reproduce exactly what it says. I'm distracted by the comments, sorry. I can reproduce exactly what the shirt does using one of these CO2 canisters with a hose and with basically an HVAC drain cleaner, by plugging the hose with a pendant. And I don't think I have my other spare one, but you plug the hose with a pendant, it builds up pressure, then it pops. I can reproduce the shirt behavior.
I just want to address this comment really quick because we've had multiple of this one. So people are saying which mic, and then they're saying if he's wearing a mic, why is he holding another one in his hand? So we're referring to, if you see on his white shirt, there's that square or rectangular magnet. There's a mic underneath that. It's a wireless mic. And then in this case, we're talking about that one. The reason he has both is because the one in his hand is for the PA system. The one attached to his shirt is for social media and for his own recording. So he has both, and that's not untypical or atypical.
Yeah,
And-
can I already say something here?
Go ahead.
And this is already what annoys me a lot about the exploding mic theory, because you pointed out very well, this microphone recorded something. It recorded something, right? And what are we looking for? Yeah, we are looking for the last minute audio between Kirk and his bodyguard and Terrell Farnsworth, I think, before the shot. They removed the SD card, yeah? We don't know where the SD card is right now. He removed another SD card from another camera nearby. But we also have the microphone underneath his shirt that also recorded this. And this is what annoys me so much. They want to plant this idea into the heads of people that the microphone exploded. And somehow, I guess people then think, yeah, then the recording of the microphone also exploded or is also not there anymore. No, this microphone recorded, I think it transmitted it to the laptop of the audio guy. And I think there is even another audio track of this last minute conversation of these three there, of Kirk, of his bodyguard Flood, and of Terrell Farnsworth. And this complete, everyone forgot this completely. And this is what I wanted to mention now, because Yeah, isn't this the most obvious thing? This is what we want to have. What did they say to each other before they shot? And it's all the more now that we know that it's definitely fake, that they definitely shot into the trunk. So what did they say to each other?
But
You're exactly right. He comes over, he whispers something to him, and it is highly likely that it was picked up in some capacity on that lavalier microphone. You're exactly right.
But do we have that file? I don't think we have that file if it exists.
I don't think
No,
anyone
but
does.
On the
No.
laptop. It's on the laptop. I don't think the microphone recorded internally. Do you also have the wireless Go, Matthew? Does it do that? Does it record to the laptop, and does it make another internal recording in itself?
It
Does
can do
it do
both. It's 32-bit float internal.
Well, if it
Yeah,
was
then-
even
yeah.
turned on at all, you guys. I mean, if they knew what they were doing, right, and they were never intending to really record the audio to begin with.
They are not that incompetent. Or if they didn't turn it on, then they didn't turn it on because they knew he was going to fake
Right.
his death.
I mean, the audio guy could have been sitting there just pretending to act like he was monitoring, the whole time, and not really be interested in monitoring the audio because he knew what was going to happen anyway.
All right, Jordan, did you want to go ahead and sorry to cut you off there?
No, that's perfectly fine. It's a team effort. So what I want to do is I want to try to, I'm not really steel manning the exploding microphone theory, but that's my intent. I am going to demonstrate what I think John is saying with a train here. I'm going to use it as a prop. So the exploding microphone is over here, but somehow we need to get the shirt to pop up like this. So what it seems like to me is the microphone explodes. We have this train here. It is in incognito mode, so you can't see it. There's no evidence that it's moving, but it has to move all the way down here in incognito mode to get down here. Then once it's down here, it has to make a hard turn upwards. It has to get the pendant, the cross pendant, on the choo-choo train. Then it needs to get out of incognito mode, and then it needs to start trucking up to his neck. And what I don't understand is how we're getting an explosive charge going down here without any visual evidence. And I can show on one of these on my thing here. That's not what I wanted to show. Sorry, I'll keep going. I don't remember what I intended to show, but anyway, I don't understand how we get it to go down and then up without showing anything over here. So that's the biggest issue I have with it. And we do have other evidence for it, but in my opinion, when you look at just the simplest version of evidence on Charlie's person, there is absolutely zero evidence that any overpressure event originated at this location. There's no evidence. The only thing it does is it kind of moves in this direction a little bit, but in my opinion, it's just being acted on by the shirt. The entire shirt is moving in this direction. And I think I can show that. Basically, the entire shirt is moving in that direction there. So just because the microphone sort of moves towards the wound does not mean that it is doing the acting. It's being acted on. And even if it were shooting something into the neck, you would expect it to go like that, not like that. As we can see in this simulation here, you see it move to the left, which is recoil, which is exactly what you would expect. There's no surprises here. So that's my biggest issue with the exploding microphone theory. I understand that John has done a lot of work on it, a lot of research. He has a lot of assertions that he can make, but I've never once seen him demonstrate anything. So I have no way of knowing. I have no way of testing his accuracy. It's not peer reviewed. To my knowledge, he has never once even handled a shaped charge. He's not an explosives expert. All he did was read a book, to my knowledge. So I don't have any reason to trust him as an authority. And the amount of assertions, highly technical assertions that he's making, I do not think can be trusted just because we have no way of gauging the accuracy. Just because he's saying a lot of things that sound really smart doesn't mean those things are accurate. So we need a way to gauge the accuracy and we need to look at the pendant since we see this, not this. So that's my piece on that.
And the other piece of that too, like I said, I'm supposed to have Valhalla and John on Monday. John has some updates and he's supposed to be doing some testing. I'm not sure if he'll get it done this weekend because they have their entire business. But to answer Jordan back, he does have a couple of units now, and he's going to try and actually do some legitimate testing with it now. So
yeah, I hope he's safe though. I don't want him to lose any fingers.
Yeah, take care of yourself, John.
That's very dangerous.
You don't want to be typing with nubs. Now, Algeist, did you have anything you wanted to add to that? Or did that sum it up pretty well?
Yeah, I think it was a great explanation by Jordan. The recoil has always been the problem. And also with Valhalla, it will be really interesting. I will definitely watch it on Monday because Valhalla was the one who debunked him, I would say the fiercest. If I remember correctly, he said something like the exploding mic theory is below all other theories. And I think in his debunk 2 months ago, so it's not his latest debunk, he made another one, but 2 months ago he said it's below all others. And the main issue that he pointed out was also the missing recoil, I think, and that there was no line of sight. And
burns.
Yeah, now he made another video of Valhalla. I didn't understand it, but he somehow says, yeah, it's a different thing now. And yeah, with this, now with the chip, with the motherboard of the microphone, somehow, also
motherboards don't just get liberated for just because it exploded. Like,
they don't get liberated. And if the microphone explodes, why would the motherboard stay intact? Can someone answer that to me? I don't understand.
And if the entire motherboard is coming completely out of the case, then how is his shirt okay? The entire premise here is that it's just a very small column of vapor coming out, and that's why there's no damage to the shirt. But if the entire circuit board is somehow being liberated, then you would expect like there's no shirt anymore.
Yeah, it definitely. And if the motherboard flies in one direction, then the case, the black case, must fly into the opposite direction, right? With the recoil. Or what does he say now? Or does he say, okay, no, the case somehow stays in place, and there's the recoil of the gas, but he also ignores the recoil of the gas, right? As Jordan also explained in his videos, and how do rockets even take off? Yeah, if you ignore gas recoil and so on.
He says that just because it's gas, that means that there's no recoil because like the grams is very small, but that's not how physics works. F equals ma. It doesn't really matter.
If there's no recoil, then the motherboard also stays in place. You need a recoil to move the motherboard there, to move anything there.
And he wants it to go at Mach 7, which is absurdly fast. So
then you need definitely a recoil. What does he imagine there? Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
we don't see any recoil at all.
Now, a lot of these questions we're going to be asking John on Monday.
I could add to it. I mean, the next thing is, on the conceptual stuff, we can do the technical stuff somehow, but on the conceptual stuff, I could add to it. I mean, because there's so many contradictions that I think have never been told anywhere. Because the next thing is, okay, why would they even do that, right? So imagine this. Imagine there was really the trunk shot, but they tried to kill him with the exploding mic. Now, the first thing is that I've mentioned last time, that's not what this is about here. The first problem is, okay, why not just shoot him from the roof? Isn't this the easiest thing? You shoot him from the roof with a professional sniper, and then you let the professional sniper escape. Yeah, that's what you
I actually
why make it so complicated and shoot into the trunk and then kill him with an exploding mic? But that's not what it's about here. What Jordan, just let me finish this. What I want to say is a new point here is what these intelligence agencies do. They never use the same trick twice. This is a very simple rule. Never use the same trick twice. Why would they be so stupid and use the same trick another time when millions of US American laymen, completely common people, know about it and suspect it and check for it? They don't do that. This is the simplest rule. You do one thing and then you don't do it anymore for some years or some decades until people have forgotten about it, and then maybe you reuse it. But you never do the same trick within such a short time period. This is the first conceptual thing. U.S. intelligence agencies don't do this. Yeah,
That's a really good point. I would agree with you on that.
and what we haven't mentioned now is I think what Matt, what you said in your video, that with this magnetic slit here, with the magnetic clip, with the clip here, why doesn't this slide off? It always stays in place. Have we already touched on this? This is the next technical issue because
Yeah.
when there's have you touched that? Have you said that already?
Yeah,
Because it would slide off.
Yeah, he
And then
addressed it in Kelly's video that he did with him recently.
Yeah,
And
but in
I
this
think he
talk, in this
pivoted-
discussion, have you talked about this yet?
Yeah, I think he pivoted to the circuit board is now the thing that's flying up. I'm pretty sure that's why he pivoted to the circuit board. Is that right?
Correct.
Because yeah.
Mhm.
But what I wanted to add though was
yeah, but I have to say, then I'm already lost, and as a physicist, I'm already lost. I cannot understand because what I have to say here, if he cannot properly explain why this magnetic clip here that is only held by the magnetic force, why this stays in place all the time when there is such heavy action underneath the shirt. If he cannot explain this, then yeah, this is a huge problem for him. So
And a lot of-
this is the first thing that he has to look into if he wants to find acceptance or, but yeah, what else should I say here? I mean, this is, for me, this is the biggest problem. And I think, Matthew, you also mentioned this, that you think that this is what I can remember from your video, that you also think this is one of the biggest problems. Yeah, but Jordan, what do you want to say?
Sure. Two things. I watched Coach Collins' video today. He was talking about the exploding mic theory, like a lot of people are. And he was convinced that the magnetic clip does fall off. But I think the reason we know that it doesn't is because there's another angle showing it still on the shirt well after the event. But people are getting confused because there's wrinkles in the shirt and it's getting hidden by the wrinkles.
Yeah.
The
That-
letter F is gone too. So
Yeah.
like in the same spot that you see, if it's basically in a straight line, but the F of freedom is folded under and the mic is also folded under, you can see the magnet just a little bit. And then I pointed that out to John and he ran through it. He reran his analysis considering that. And then he saw that it was pretty obvious that it kind of exploded it moved towards and then back away. So it didn't like boom across the body. It kind of like went boom and came back. And that's basically been proven now.
And it
Yeah,
does
and
get really difficult to keep track of the video that you're using, what the origin is, exact date that you got it, the exact date that it was entered into, we'll call it evidence, the public sphere, right? And to make sure that it wasn't tampered with, and because unfortunately many of these videos have been, and so that's just one more thing to keep in mind as we're working with all of these videos as best we can.
And now for this case, I specifically used, because he was kind enough to share his Google Drive that has a lot of his research and stuff in it. And I used his video to figure this out, slow motion it and show it to him. So I didn't use some other random source. It was actually his video.
And to his credit, he did change his mind. So, and
Well,
then
I mean,
the other,
yeah, but that's a really important thing. I just want to say really quick is like, that's really important in this investigation is there's always new pieces. There's always new stuff found. So if someone says initially it was a magnetic clasp that flies across the hem of the neck, and later we find out that it was something else, then that's acceptable because it's an active investigation. Mm-hmm. So you should never look at someone and say, well, the thing you said first wasn't exactly perfect, so you have no credibility, right? Everyone's kind of trying to figure out these pieces and move them around until someone figures out what happened, or they have 8K proof of Tyler taking a shot on the roof. Right. And we won't know that until probably a year from now.
and even if you have that, that's still not enough because like he's saying, it goes into the van anyways. But what I wanted to add was that back to the question about why would they use an exploding microphone instead of just doing it with the rifle. I was on a Twitter space. I did a Twitter spaces last night and someone had a pretty good answer to that. I asked them that question and they said that it was because they didn't want someone else to get hurt behind Charlie. They knew that according to the theory, if they shot him with a rifle, there's a good chance that somebody else would get caught in the backdrop and would also get injured, and they didn't want to do that. So I found that to be compelling given the theory. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, but the joke is that we don't even have an exit wound.
Well, yeah.
So, then I know what you. Thank you for mentioning that, but so someone behind him. It's but it is an easy shot. Isn't this a totally easy shot?
Yeah.
Doesn't everyone say this? And but who cares about people behind him? I mean, you take the shot, and U.S. intelligence, I guess, could make sure that there is no one behind him. Or was there anyone behind him? There was no one behind him. Why would anyone be behind this tent? They could do it very simply with a camera behind the tent, and then the sniper knows all the time if there's someone behind the tent or not.
Speaking of, are we going to get to do a little live demo with Jordan?
Yes.
We're going to do that here in just 1 second. I just want to do the poll.
Okay.
So the last poll was, do you think Erica Kirk is grieving like a widow? Results, 95% says no. So absolutely not.
But 5% say yes. Wow. Who are these 5%?
Bots.
Yeah. Deep USA bots. Yeah.
And I think we wanted to quickly go over the new evidence, or not really new evidence, but the evidence that John has the ABS plastic in the car and the little thing that falls.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple things that I wanted to show on my screen. So this, wait a second, what did I do? Let me do, I need to go to this one. Here we go. So that is on a vehicle, on the floor of a vehicle. It looks kind of like ABS plastic. And then we also have this one. It's pretty low resolution, but it kind of looks like ABS plastic, right? And then, but we look at the larger image and it's just glass. So that's what I think the stuff, I don't have the actual image queued up right now. I should have, but that's what I think the stuff in the van is. It's just glass. Someone broke a window, maybe an iPhone screen, something like that. Not uncommon in emergency situations. So that's what I think that stuff is.
Yeah, you know what I think? What I think? Since there's candy, why isn't it just licorice? Or liquor? It is spelled that way. Licorice is the sweet. Why isn't it just that? Wouldn't that make perfect sense? Someone blasted a pack of licorice, and there's just licorice on the floor. Or someone walked through licorice, or someone walked through
crazy,
some,
right?
tar or something. I mean, this is just unspecified dirt on a floorboard.
Yeah, there's a lot of possible explanations.
And the joke is, can you just pull it up, or should I pull it up? I don't know. The joke is how far this is spread out. There are these black pieces where his head must have been, and there's black pieces where essentially his feet must have been. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's as if they rolled him over before that in some black pieces, and then I don't know, just so that he has this on his body or something. How can these black pieces even be so spread out? How should this even work?
And why did
there's so many other questions. I can just why would I have some questions here? Okay, why is there no blood on the black pieces? Right? We are told, we're supposed to believe there's an explosion. Jordan already said there's no holes in the t-shirt. Yeah, but if there's no holes in the t-shirt, then the explosion must have gone inwards towards the body, and then there definitely must be blood on these pieces. Why is there no blood on these pieces? Nowhere. Where is there any red blood? Why should this be a fragmentation of anything? This could just be tar or licorice that someone walked through.
I want to address the super chat here really quick. Thank you, William, for the super chat. I think he's mentioned something similar to this before, but an explosive at 22,000 feet per second has a different sound signature to a gunshot at 2,000 feet per second. Also, it creates an overpressure, which would suck the shirt in, not up and down. Also, slow the sound down. Hear 3 sounds: crack, thump, shot. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think audio. He said a third sound, and Audio Freak and I already agreed there is no sign of that, because it would be. Yeah, I said this before, that there is this disturbance aerial drone, but this is only on one side, and with the third sound, it would be on both sides of the auditorium. Yeah, So it is true that on the northern side, we have a disturbance sound, but not here. And if there was a microphone explosion here, then you would also hear it on these recordings. Also in the close ones, recording 13 is very close. You don't hear anything.
And on the overpressure claim here, I would want to know exactly what direction that sucking would go. Like, I would not expect an explosion here to cause this part of the shirt to lift up and go right there. I would expect some other direction if that were the case. I have seen test fires with shirts of rifles that show that a bullet does not create nearly enough disturbance in the air to suck a shirt up, but I realize that this is talking about an explosive. But I would be very interested in the directionality of whatever this effect is.
You all right over there, Algeist? It sounded like a gunshot behind you.
Right?
Yeah, I was also wondering what that was, but my
There's a
light
cracked
was still
stump behind you.
working. So
They're coming for you.
yeah, I hope I can make it through this live stream alive. Yeah, so
And then we also had the thing falling from the tent. If I can show what I think that is, I don't know for sure. If, like, I'm talking about the thing that falls down from the tent right after the shot. I think it's one of these, one of the things that you use to connect the not the tarp, but the cover of the tent to the tent. These things are everywhere when you construct these things. That's what I think it is, some variation of it. And I think, I haven't demonstrated it yet, but I think that the overpressure, like the air coming out of the CO2, could have sort of created some wind that sort of knocked that loose. Maybe it was just loose up there, and it's just one of those little bungees that fell down. That's what I think that is. I haven't demonstrated it yet, so I don't know for sure, but that's my opinion on that.
yeah, I would agree that this is the most plausible one, and it will make perfect sense. And yeah,
Not necessarily the case, but
Yeah. And I like this comment here. I like critical thinking exercises. That's what this is. This is thinking through possibilities, because as of right now, not everyone, well, like I said yesterday or day before, no one right now can say definitively 100% what happened at this point. And if they say they can, then that's their theory, but they can't prove it, right? So we're not to that point yet. We don't have all the information. So, and Algeist, same thing, like your theory, you believe 100% in it, other people believe in that kind of stuff. But unless you show Charlie alive, that piece is missing from your theory too.
No.
Right?
Listen. We have to make really progress here. We are good friends, Matthew, but this is stuff that you use in court. And as what I can also tell the audience, I again emailed the lawyers of Tyler Robinson. Yeah, you already know about this, but I want to tell the audience too, because it is court relevant. This is what you use in court. And I also found out that Baron Coleman is a lawyer. Yeah, apparently he's a lawyer. Yeah, that's what he is. And I'm really surprised that Baron Coleman just ignores my work, because Baron Coleman also knows with my work, with what physics professors calculate, this is just proof that finds acceptance in court. And to me, it's really stunning that Tyler Robinson hasn't been acquitted yet. Why is this guy still accused of anything? There was no murder. And with this 100% proof, it is, I know that it is, I don't want to have a conflict with you, but I have to just really insist that it is 100%. It's not what I believe in. It is 100% the case. 100%. And what
no, it's
we
99.
are,
it's 99 because you don't have the physical body alive.
No, Matthew, the problem is this. This is
Jordan agrees. Jordan agrees. You have
it develops
the physical body in front of you to be 100%.
Okay, well, what we don't know is what happened when they got in the car.
This is the problem, Matthew. Really, when you prove one thing 100%, I mean, before I did these calculations, people said, "Oh, anything could have happened." Then I come along, say 100% sure, no one finds any errors. Then this is 100% what happened. But what people try is to say, that's not enough for me. That's not enough for me. You know what, Algeist? You have to find Charlie Kirk. You have to find him, and you have to show him to me. Yeah.
People don't like to admit.
Where does it end? And the joke is this. And when I say, okay, you know what? I'm a secret billionaire. I can just find him. I actually find him for you. You know what? I just buy people in US intelligence. Where is this guy? What kind of facial operation did he have? I find him. I make and then you say, oh, but it's not his face. That's not him. You can't prove anything, right? Then I say, yo, but I make a chromosome test or DNA test or whatever, and it's really Charlie Kirk. And I compared it with his parents, and he doesn't have a brother or something. Then people say, oh, maybe he had a secret brother, and his parents gave him away at birth. You can't prove anything, right? I mean, where does this end?
Yeah,
It always goes on and on and on. No, this physics proof is 100% proof, and I just make my argumentation. I just want to show people that it's quite relevant, and yeah, I just have to explain people that there might also be a bit social engineering in place, because it's always people, when does it end? This is 100% proof, and it can be used in court, and it can be used to acquit Tyler Robinson. It is that serious. It is 100% sure.
I want to go through these real fast. Me, with my theory, I'm at about 70% that I'm right about the shirt behavior having something to do with cutting the neck prosthetic. I'm about 70% sure. I can be persuaded either way. Also, I think that the reason people are really not warming up to the fake death theory is because people do not like to admit they've been duped. Nobody ever believed the 30-06 narrative. Everyone has always believed that he was killed by something, but they don't know what. But in order to accept this theory, you have to admit that you were duped, that you were tricked. So I think that's part of the reason people don't like it. And then the third thing I'll add is it's really important to add narrative to your theory in addition to the math, because the math might be 100% correct, but it's not necessarily persuasive if people don't understand the narrative that explains the story behind it. So I think it's really important to add narrative to it and to demonstrate the anomalies like we're about to do here with the shirt. It's really important to demonstrate that you can reproduce everything that we see. Otherwise, it's really hard for people to accept, especially if it involves them being duped.
And that's
Yeah,
why
for
when I come into it, I say that we have to approach it really look at it as an all-encompassing story, in looking at the events, what led up to that day, what happened during that event, and what we saw after. It all works together to understand what happened as a whole.
All right, and real quick, make sure you guys hit that like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out Jordan Henshaw on YouTube. I think one of you said that he had multiple channels. Is that true, Jordan? Or just one?
There's like the thing with my Twitter handle, there's like a lot of them, and I have to add the numbers behind them. I need a better handle. There's a lot of them, yes, but the only one with, I think I'm at 5,000 subs now. The only one with a subscriber count is mine.
And you'll see him with the shirt puffing up and like a bunch of gear on and stuff like that, so you know it's his. And then, of course, check out Algeist Nydream. I always say the last name wrong. Check him out. It's ALGEIST NY Dream, and that is on YouTube. And he's also on X. He's pretty active on X as well. And then Kelly Rabon, KELIRABON, on YouTube, X, and Instagram, where she's kind of famous on Instagram. Make sure you check her out. All right, so now we're going to go on to Jordan's demonstration, and then we'll get to Q&A and super chats.
Okay. I first want to address one problem with the theory is the cavitation. I know a lot of people talk about the cavitation. They think that because we have the one frame of where it looks like Charlie's neck is puffing out, that means that he must have been struck by some high velocity projectile. But I've tried to reproduce that with my theory, and I think that I have. As you can see on the screen now, it's just the necklace. You can't see me right now, but it's just the shirt puffing out, exposing more neck. It's not necessarily that his neck itself is actually expanding. And I've reproduced that with the CO2 charge. So I wanted to add that real fast. And I also wanted to very quickly show this one. Some of these tests here. That one's not very exciting. This is what I'm going to attempt to demonstrate here pretty soon. That's one of them. And then we have this one. This is what I'm about to demonstrate with clear blood, not with red blood, not with green blood, with clear blood. It's not 100% water. It's diluted, what is it called? Caro oil. It's diluted caro oil, so it's a little bit thicker than water. And I also want to show this photo. You can't see it very well, but you see on his back, there's a little cylinder almost taped to his back by his right shoulder. And what I think that is when I took the course on how to fake neck wounds, I saw this image in the course. That is the blood delivery hose over there on the left. And it's in essentially the exact same spot as it is on Charlie. So I think that's what that is. Only instead of a normal fitting, it's a quick disconnect fitting. So that's some visual evidence that substantiates the faked death theory. But without further ado, I will go ahead and, yeah, I think I've done everything I wanted to over there. I'm going to, I actually can't switch my audio to ambient like I normally do, but give me a couple seconds to get set up. What's going to happen is some blood is going to spurt out of the neck, and you're going to see the shirt pop up.
Some clear liquid. Some
clear liquid, not the B word. And hopefully everything happens at the same time, but please keep in mind, everyone watching, this is an experimental test. This is not the final thing. I'm still figuring this out. It might not work. I did do some tests in advance of this specific stream. I'm pretty confident that both things are going to work, but the timing might not be right. The CO2 pendant gun might come first. Like, the timing might not be perfect because I don't have an actual recipe for the blood. I don't know how fast it's going to get on site. So please keep those things in mind. This is an experimental test. If it doesn't work, that doesn't mean the whole theory is bad. It just means that I haven't figured it out fully yet. So without
he will
further
have more versions. Well, and just real quick, he will have more versions on his YouTube channel as well. So he's continuously developing this and evolving it. So make sure you follow him and check that out.
And I also do live tests every single night now, every single weekday night. So I did one this Monday, this Tuesday, this Wednesday, even though yesterday I forgot to actually start the live stream, but I did it yesterday, and I'm doing it tonight, and I'll be doing it tomorrow night, as well as every weekday next week, just to demonstrate the reliability of the system, even though I'm still working out the kinks. So here we go.
As Jordan is setting up, it's now I think about, oh, okay. I think he's been working at this, about maybe 2 weeks. So it's really impressive to see the amount that he has developed his theory in just a little bit of time.
And just for those watching, it's not an explosion. So I see some people like, be careful, Jordan. It's air pressure and liquid, so he should be safe. He might get messy, but he'll be safe.
Safety first.
Safety first, yeah.
Okay, 10 seconds. Hold up, I need to record this so I can analyze it real fast.
Make sure you guys hit that like.
What's that?
Oh, you're good. You're good, Jordan.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3.
So there you go, and you can see the clear liquid coming out of that area. You can see the shirt, bulge up and that kind of stuff. And I believe he also, depending on how he sets it up, you'll see the necklace fly up too. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
If you approach it purely from what happened to the shirt and the necklace and stuff point of view, and not trying to make it fit into a gunshot or something else, it's really interesting that he's able to recreate pretty darn close.
Well, and you think, okay, in that instant, right? If the person would have thrown their arms up, okay, I mean, and then 1 second later been pushed over, might have been all you needed.
Yeah, it was a really impressive test. I think
Yeah.
it's really great the progress that he makes, and that he also makes these live tests now every day. I know people might almost get a bit tired, but for the technical people, right, it really shows the progress that you see with him, and he also adds new features. And yeah, I think it's really impressive. I think this is the way to go, and in the long run, this will really convince people that you can really do this, and it's not some kind of unreachable goal. These special effects, it's not some kind of almost witchcraft that you have to have decades of experience for. I mean, you can achieve very impressive results very early on, and just imagine the people like Mike McCash that actually have decades of experience, how well they can do it.
Right.
And let's also keep in mind what we haven't discussed yet. I think we will discuss a lot of other things, but what he does there is really technology that has been around for a very long time. Yeah, I think maybe people 20, 50 years ago could have done that. I don't know, when have CO2 cartridges been involved? But yeah, I mean, this is not even modern technology with anything like computer chips involved, or like I don't know, like the computer chips that maybe control the tiny device within the prosthetic or something. No, this is really basic technology, and this is why it's so impressive what he does. Now he's back.
I don't
Hey, Jordan,
know. I
Well, how
feel
do
like
you
the
feel?
timing was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked. How do you feel?
I think that was my best test to date, which is great because this is the big audience.
Yeah. People seemed
So-
pretty
Yeah, it
impressed.
worked out
Audience.
perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're an hour and 30 minutes in. So I think what we'll start doing is QA and super chats and stuff like that. If you guys if you guys have any other questions for them, feel free to reach out to them on X and YouTube. And they're pretty good about getting back to people and having dialogue and that kind of stuff. But let's go ahead and start jumping into this here. Let me get us all rearranged.
Oh, I see. Sorry, that there was someone. I don't want you to lose it, because someone had suggested, Jordan, lemon curd. It said would be cool to add some glow in the dark liquid from a chem
Oh, nice.
light.
Yeah.
Sure, probably not, because I'm more focused on realism, but I'll take it into consideration.
All right, Vicky Valentine, thanks for becoming a channel member. Artemis Wild, thanks for becoming a channel member.
But thank you for
Jerry-
thank you to the person who commented that. I appreciate the advice.
TJ Rostas, thanks for becoming a member as well. And then we have For His Glory, thanks for the super sticker. All right, Janet Rabbins, thanks for the super chat. Love the show and all the different theories. I hope he's still alive. Too many things don't add up. And that's why people are still digging into all these theories. There's too many loose ends. Puko's Porch. I love the diversity of this podcast. All theories are accepted. I appreciate all the research. Send Kelly to Utah. Thank you, Matthew 922. If you guys aren't familiar, we've been, since a couple of shows ago, everyone wants to send Kelly on the ground. She did 12 years as a professional award-winning investigative journalist, and people are trying to get her on the ground in Utah to start knocking on doors and talking to people and seeing what she can dig up.
I said, don't tempt me with a good time. I'll go. So really, I am fully invested and interested in going. So y'all help me make it possible.
And one way you can do that is by supporting her with super chats and stuff on her channel.
Yeah.
Because that'll help pay for the trip as well. Let's see. Savannah Barbieri, always very generous. Thanks for that super sticker. And Savannah Barbieri, Charlie is not dead, just a gut feeling I have. Thanks for the super chat. I think a lot of people feel that way. Like you saw, about 40% of this audience right now. Savannah Barbieri, another one. Thanks for the super chat. What makes me believe that Charlie may still be alive is why Candace has never spoken about this conspiracy, or she knows that he is alive and TPUSA told her to keep quiet. You guys have anything to say about that?
I do. Well, I want to be careful, but I think that meeting with Erica might have been maybe a skiff. I don't know. But I think something changed after that meeting.
I would agree. I think there was a shift in Candace's demeanor. I think there's been a difference in the amount of in the relay of information that we've seen from Candace since then. But yeah, time shall
I've
tell.
learned I have to be careful with talking about Candace, but yeah, she hasn't done a lot to change my opinion on her. So yeah, a lot of, I don't know, what was the main progress that she made in the last month or in the last 6 weeks? Was there anything substantial, or was, I mean, you have to admit that she's on social media every day, but in my opinion, she is really the star of this season of a social media soap opera. This is what it appears. It appears scripted. I think she definitely knows by now that Charlie Kirk is still alive, and her main role is to just distract. And I think I heard Jesse on Fire talk about it or allude to it, if I am allowed to say that here, but he said it in his video that they pump a lot of they pump a lot of money into videos that address anything on Candace. So anything that has to do with Candace, YouTubers make more money, way more money on these videos. And this is the reason, in my opinion, why or how they make Candace Owens this star of this social media soap opera. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious. I can say this here. I can be the one that speaks all these things out here. Why does she get all these tips? Why does she get all this insider information? Why is it always the same pattern? It looks so promising, but it always turns out to be a false lead. And and it's always a big ado, and there's always a lot of videos on her. I mean, you just have to open up your YouTube every day, and there's like 20 creators making a video on Candace and on the Candace Erica thing, and on the Fort Huachuca thing, and so on, and on the broken on the plastic pieces on the floorboard, and so on. And it feels very scripted. It really feels like she's an actress. It feels like she's controlled opposition. Even the thing with Gary Melton, it also felt scripted. It felt very scripted to me. It's as if they all get their share. They all make money with this, and it's kind of sad that they can control this so easily by just pumping that money into these videos, because this is the way they control it indirectly with RPM. This is the revenue per 1,000 viewers that you have, and this is a lot higher for videos on Candace. And this is what Jesse talked about in one of his videos. Yeah, this is just what convinced me.
I'm trying to think if I've experienced that myself, because I've done a few recaps with Kelly. In my experience, I haven't seen that necessarily, but I did see Jesse's video where he was talking about that. But we definitely appreciate, like, especially with you being outside the US, we definitely appreciate your point of view. Let's see, we have a super chat here from Wilson. Thanks for the chat. Why would they need to use a live round? He could use a blank or broadcast a loud sound with a portable LRAD. Do you want to take that one, Algeist?
Yeah, it's the blank. It's just, they know that investigative journalists check if there was a real round fired. And it's not me. It's not me. They don't know about me. I didn't even do that before 9/10 and the Kirk shooting. No, there were other people, most notably John Cullen and Chris Martinson, or I think they checked for that. And when you just put yourself into the people at these intelligence agencies, they know that there are investigative journalists that will check for that. They know there are investigative journalists that will evaluate all the audio recordings of the smartphone videos, and they will check, was it a real round? Was there a cracked thump or not? And you cannot just use a blank. It will show in these audio tracks.
It's in the variance between the audio tracks.
One important thing, too, to point out here is if you use a blank, you don't get a mock cone, because the sound is only happening at the rifle. To get the mock cone and all the audio that everyone's seeing, multiple different sources, you have to have something physically traveling through the air to do that.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't say that. Yeah, this is the reason with the mock cone and the bullet has to fly at supersonic speed. I mean, I could just, I have shown this already with the mark cone and the circle for the thumb. So the mark cone is for the crack, the circle is for the thumb. For those of you that can't remember, I don't have my screen open now. Should I open it again? Or
No, it's okay. We have a lot of super chats and questions to get through. But long story short, because there has to be something physically moving through the air to be picked up on those different mics. Yep. And we did cover this one. Thank you again, William. He's talking about the explosion and the speed and hearing 3 sounds in a crack thump shot. I think a lot of people have looked into that and they didn't hear 3 separate things, but definitely appreciate the super chat. Okay, this is one thing. Now we need a motive for not being killed. So what would be Charlie's motive or TPUSA's motive for him to fake his death? What's the benefit and why would they have to do that?
I think the leading theory is to get him into witness protection. There was a state level threat against his life. He was very fearful, and that's why he did it, not out of any malice, but because of how terrified he was of a legitimate threat to his life.
Yeah, and this is a point where we actually disagree. Well, we don't really disagree. We disagree in how we rank that. So for me, this is not really the most important reason. This is almost the least important reason. And the threat to his life, I have to say, the biggest threat to his life was not really any foreign intelligence. I would say this is the least possible. I would say this is maybe people that lost family victims at public shootings that were just very angry at Charlie Kirk, that he constantly said, "Ooh, keeping the Second Amendment is just worth having some victims at public shootings." And when you are really affected, having lost a family member, then you can get angry when you hear that. And who knows, maybe some people actually thought about maybe just in their head, not really planning it, but I guess that there could have been people who were very angry at him, and maybe US intelligence has picked that up and was aware of that. So this might be a reason why to fake his death, but I don't think it is the main reason. And yeah, I can't seem to find all the reasons that we had when I was last on your show. I think we had so many reasons. I think it was personal reasons, right, with Erica. Here it is. Okay, I have it here. What was it all? I think we had the personal reasons that many people think it was a fraud marriage because of the age gap and because we only see the backside of the heads of the children. Then we had the financial reasons, which I think is very important. Yeah, we have this massive financial fraud that I think by now has been proven at TPUSA, and everyone is wondering, why are these people not in jail? And yeah, I think last time we also had something on the life insurance. If we can touch on this, this was open last time. I saw a video by Danks, and they actually have reinstituted this Chichi LF LLC for the life insurance that he used to just transfer himself 350K. And yeah, it was set inactive on July 9. But the specialty is, I don't know if you have watched the video by Danks, but the specialty is that the GTLF is not assigned to a person, so not to Charles Kirk. No, it is assigned to the president of TPUSA. And this means that Erica Kirk is now the president of TPUSA, and she now owns this life insurance LLC. And the problem was that it was set on inactive, so they had to reinstitute it within a limited time, which they did. And now it all appears fine. So it appears that they will get this life insurance paid out. But in a private email to me, Danks pointed out that there are 2 options. I think he will make a video on it. So Danks, sorry if I just talk about it now, but it is the main problem is the taxable, whether this is taxable or not. So there are some very specific requirements that they had to do when Charles Kirk was still alive, and he must have signed these requirements, as far as I know, some very specific forms regularly to make this non-taxable. So this means that she gets the full sum. And if they didn't do that, if they forgot one single form, then they have to tax that thing. And it's going to be a huge tax that they have to pay. And this is already a problem. But so far, it's also kind of confusing that they haven't already paid out that life insurance, right? Have any of you heard that they have paid this out? She should have received it by now, I think. And this raises even more questions. Why doesn't anyone pay this sum? And here is then an option that I brought into play in these emails with Denks and with Brian, the auditor, and with, I think, also Zach from Finance Wolves. Maybe this entire thing was a complete fraud. Maybe this is just some financial construct. Maybe this was never really a life insurance to begin with. Maybe this was just a sneaky way to just pay himself 350K, or to pay, or to transfer, rather said to transfer 350K to this insurance company. This is what it also looks like. So there's a lot of options.
There's a lot of layers. Yeah.
Yeah. This is we are talking about the why, the motive. Yeah. This is a big sum. This is a big motive. So we have the financial reason. The next thing that we had was the second. This was only the third most important reason. Then we had the PSYOP to just create division and say, okay, there are left-wing extremists, when in reality there are no left-wing extremists. And well, the most important reason, of course, that is my video with the audio of Donald Trump and the agents at Butler, where it becomes pretty clear that Butler was also staged. And I had published this on September 1st. And in my opinion, this was a very important reason why they even staged this Kirk shooting, because this shooting covers exactly the same search terms. And if they hadn't done this shooting, then Donald Trump wouldn't be president anymore. Yeah, the search terms are assassination, fake, attempted assassination fake when he was still alive. But there were also a lot of videos. Then we have the earshot with Seth Boykin's video. Then we have the flag lowered, yeah, which they did in honor of Charlie Kirk, and so on. So this is I think this is what they wanted to really make very sure of, that this information of this leaked audio on the podium at Butler really does not find any audience, which was kind of weird because it didn't find any audience anyway, because YouTube didn't really show it in the search. So in my opinion, they wouldn't have even needed to do that, but they decided to still do it and to still cover the exact same search terms. Yeah.
So
in my opinion, this is the main reason. Yeah. Well, yeah.
My take on it is more focused on Charlie's psychology. If he were going to do this, I think it would need to be an extremely compelling emotional reason, because Charlie's living the life. He's living the life of anyone's dreams. He's already filthy rich. Everyone loves him around him. He has his own company. He's rich and famous. I think he needs an extremely compelling emotional reason to do that. And like 300K isn't going to do it. A PSYOP isn't going to do it. It needs to be either fear or some really powerful reward, in my opinion. So that's why I gravitate more towards the fear of an authentic threat to his life.
Full blown. Yeah. Full blown authentic threat to his life. And I think that also, I mean, it could be a matter of when he becomes more powerful than the machine itself and cannot be controlled, not just by a foreign entity, but even by the party itself. Okay, internally, like within the United States. I mean, that's another factor to keep in mind too. So I think all of those things are things to consider.
Yeah, I have to say that I think, Jordan, did you follow Charlie Kirk? I think, Matthew, you didn't follow him. He said it last time. You didn't really follow him, but Jordan, did you follow him? Or yeah.
I didn't follow him closely, any more closely than I did any of the other people similar to him, but I definitely knew who he was. I watched his entire Jubilee, everyone sitting around in the circle video. I forget what that's called. I watched that entire thing. I definitely knew who he was. I wouldn't
Yeah.
consider myself his supporter because I disagree with him on quite a few things, but I definitely respected and admired him.
Yeah, me personally, I have to say I view this completely differently. I didn't know him. To me, he's mostly a delinquent. At the way he was introduced to me, I heard nothing about him before this staged shooting, and then of course there was the shooting, and then very early on there were these allegations of TPUSA, and also, yeah, I mean these financial allegations, and I view him mostly like a delinquent. So to
I
me,
think
and I have to say, this Charles Kirk, and I also saw videos of him. He did not really. Does he really appear powerful to you as American people? To me, he does not appear powerful. Also, in his earlier videos, he does not seem so happy. I don't know. Did he really appear this way? I'm always very stunned. I mean, I also heard Harsh Reality. He's a British guy. He's also a YouTuber, and he really surprised me. He said, "Oh, I watched Charlie Kirk regularly for the last 10 years, right?" And I thought, "What Harsh Reality?" I thought he was kind of a critical thinker. Charlie Kirk appeared credible to Harsh Reality. I mean, to me, Charlie Kirk didn't even seem so happy, quite frankly.
and he might not have
When you watch
been.
videos with one of his children there that he has on his lap, and I don't know, it
I
looks
think
completely weird. This doesn't look like a happy person, like a happy father. No, not at all.
that is a great observation. And I think especially in the last several months leading up to September 10th, he looked increasingly unhappy, I believe. And so I do think that there was a lot going on in the background in his mind. And also when you do take into consideration the amount of money issues that were probably going on with the company too, it could have been a great time to get out of Dodge, get out of there and, let somebody else deal with the problems. So,
All right, I got to keep us focused here.
Yep.
So, William, thanks for the super chat. EOD Tech, let's see, used to working in reverse to prevent explosions. Can't afford more super chat. Want an email address? Email address is down in the description, and it's also on my channel, so you can grab it from either one. Who's a good dog? Like that name. Thanks for the super chat. This is sound mathematical proof that the shot went into the car. Still needing proof, meaning Tyler did not shoot Charlie. We do not need to find his body to say the narrative is completely false.
Yeah, thank you. Who's a good dog? Yeah, he wrote me a nice comment on my channel today, not just one, so I remember him. Yeah, thank you for the super chat.
And Boogaboo, you got to add in the piece that was falling from hitting the top of the tent. It's very obvious this is ABS plastic fried. Jordan did address that earlier in the that. So he believes it's this piece up here that you see, or something else falling down from the tent, as opposed to like one single piece of ABS. If that thing blown up and shattered, a lot of people argue there'd be a lot more pieces, right? Not just like a single piece flying off. Who's a good dog? Thanks for that. Super.
Thanks, man.
I'm not sure if you forgot to put a message
Another
in there,
one.
but thanks again. Nina User, thanks for becoming a YouTube member. Hey, you've been coming here for a while. Thanks for finally joining up. Lil Nuggles. I like that name. Be safe on your trip. Is this for Kelly? Oh, yeah, this is for Kelly. Yep.
thank you.
And actually, yeah, I'll see if I can start. Yeah, it does show me the separate ones. Okay. Who's a good dog? Thanks for another super chat. Also, why would Charlie set up
Thanks,
a fake
man.
execution, then say, let's really end me another way? 99.9999% he's alive after this event ended. Hugo's Porch, thanks for a big super chat. How many people are you assuming would need to be part of this plan? That's a very good question. How does that work? I also agree with Kelly. You have to look at the big picture. So do you want to talk about how many people would be involved in this to make this actually work successfully?
Yes, just like at Butler. At Butler, it was 15 people at Butler, and I think similar 15 people. Yeah, the entire security team, definitely. The shooter was involved, and and also the leading figures. Frank Turek, definitely the Wi-Fi boss, in my opinion, at least. I don't know if Jordan has a slightly different opinion there. I think he said something about Frank Turek, but I think Frank Turek is absolutely not credible. I think I don't know what kind of mental construct Frank Turek has built himself. I think he's a religious person, right? He's some kind of religious mentor of Charlie Kirk, supposed to be that. And yeah, I mean, Frank Turek, honestly, there were traumatized children there in the audience, and they thought they saw a blood fountain there, and they're traumatized for life. I mean, how can you live with yourself, honestly? Are you really a religious person there or what? I mean, how can you not have a bad conscience? I mean, Frank Turek is definitely also involved. I don't see any other way how he couldn't be involved. And this is the circle. And people always exaggerate this, but I can understand this. They say hundreds of people must be involved in this conspiracy. No, they're only a small circle, and the rest of it, look at how much you can do in social media. If you have one billionaire that is involved in it, then he can convince so many people on social media right now by just pumping videos, by just pumping money into videos on certain topics that just create a certain narrative, like, yeah, microphone didn't record anything, microphone exploded, something like that. And they can just create that, and they can just create a distraction. They can also keep results down, like my videos. So you only need a small team, 15 people, and big money. And then you can pull this stuff off. And maybe also relations to US intelligence, because they know essentially everything about anyone, not just in the USA. I think they also know everything about me. So they have the perfect information to plan this stuff. And this is everything you need. And let's not forget, they can also use AI. They definitely used AI, and one AI can do also the work of 100 people. So if you have a very advanced AI, you don't need hundreds of people. You just need this very advanced AI. Yeah, and we know that AI was involved because there was a very, very prominent AI era at the Kirk shooting, and the AI era was this 30-06 getting stuck in the neck. This was definitely an AI era. No human is that stupid to make this era. This was an AI era. And the humans there, I don't know, maybe Brian Harper or Kelly, you also want to elaborate on something that you found in Brian Harper. I think Brian Harper has a lot of experience. Maybe he was the one who was supposed to check the suggestion of the AI with this 30-06 into the neck. And maybe Brian Harper failed to find this AI error that just doesn't make sense, that is so stupid that no human with any gun experience would have ever made. Yeah.
Like, my personal opinion or speculation would be that Brian could be playing as though he is, let's see, the less intelligent, less involved, less complicit than what he may be. And the fact is that he is highly trained, highly skilled. You know, I have examples of Greg Schaefer with Schaefer Security Group calling Brian one of the finest, highest trained, most skilled, elite security guys in all of the world. He had immense amounts of training. He led immense amounts of intense training, especially when it came to active shooter, and, had an immense amount of medical training. He knew guns in and out. He knew all sorts of weaponry. So, I'm just not buying that I fully believe that he could run an operation like this, that he ran this operation.
Those words of admiration, were those like one of those LinkedIn things?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we all know how honest those are.
Well, it was a tweet. It was a tweet. But
okay.
It was a tweet, but it was very, very flowery. But hey, we take people for their word.
But I agree. I think they're definitely elite. I don't think they're idiots.
Yeah.
Well, I train with a lot of these people, and I have family and friends that are that class of people, and they do that type of training their entire career. And it's not uncommon to have credentials like that for these people. They're usually very high performers, usually very intelligent, and they are the type of people that don't give up. They just keep going and going and going. And you get to the point where you're like, how do you, like Green Berets, for example, just as an example, I'd say 99.9% of people could never pass the training physically and mentally that's required to become one, right? So you have to be a very high elite person to do this kind of stuff. I'm just checking to see if there's any other super chats. Yep. Let's see. You don't want none. Thanks for the super chat. Why isn't everybody demanding to see the footage? Good question.
We are.
Oh, hold on.
We
There's
are.
more. There's more from the camera that was behind Charlie.
We are.
We are. I mean, the only thing that we're not doing is going and, banging on the doors of TPUSA. If you guys have, more ideas of what we can do, one thing that I've thought of is, could the next step be to start demanding that the, big ticket donors, the high dollar donors start turning the tides on TPUSA? I mean, I don't know what else we can do except to start to kind of hit their pocketbook.
Yeah, what's interesting with this, maybe we can elaborate on this a bit because we haven't done so. Now with this camera behind Charlie, I think what's interesting now, I already said that the audio would really be interesting, more interesting than the video. But on the video, what's interesting is this necklace thing there. Because there are still a lot of people that say, yeah, maybe it was still a tube. Maybe, right, it's this thing that hangs out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Jordan will not say, no, it was the necklace. But I think we cannot even say for sure that it was the necklace. It could still be a tube. And this is so annoying with this Candace Owens that I think she has access to this full video. I think so. I think she could show it, but she doesn't. She again just shows a picture. And this again is just giving the audience something. It feels so scripted. But yeah, I don't know. Have you zoomed in on the photo, Jordan? Do you think it is a necklace, or are you 100% convinced that it is a necklace?
I'm not 100% convinced, but I'm 99% convinced it's the necklace. I would not expect there to be a tube right there because I would expect that to be on the opposite side, and it would not be that high up on the neck. With the way that I've been trained to do these prosthetics and blood bladders, I would expect there would be a tube like back here, but it would never be up in this position that visible. It would be taped to his back to begin with. It would not be flying out. And in all my tests, most of my tests, this one, I don't think it flew all the way back, but a lot of my test fires, the necklace flies into that exact position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and,
but
you don't want none. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, from this photo that she showed us again, I mean, I zoomed in on it and I cannot say for 100% sure what it is. I mean, this is so annoying, right?
Well, his necklace is tricky because it's so round and cylindrical that it is like an optical illusion. Depending on what angle you look at it from and how you zoomed in, it can look like a tube. But yeah, just like that. Or
this isn't the exact, but this is similar to what it was, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can be very it can be like an illusion depending on what angle and lighting and everything you see it from. So that's why so many people were like, was it an earpiece? Was it a necklace? Was it a plastic tube? Like, what the hell is that? It took people like over a month to figure out that it was probably his necklace in the first place from the side shot when it flew up. So that's how tricky it's been. You don't want none. Thanks for all the super chats. I see you had like 4 different ones. We appreciate it. William, $20. Thanks for the super chat. Brian was a patsy too. He was surprised. He has to go along with the narrative, or is he also?
Yeah, Brian Harpole. I think what you said before, these people, I think also they are very intelligent, but I think the people at the very top right now, or in general, are not intelligent. I think they take a lot of stupid decisions, and it's then the job of these very intelligent people that are just one rank below them, maybe like Brian Harpole, to just go along with some narrative. And maybe someone actually gave Brian Harpole the order to go on this Sean Ryan show where he told so many lies, right? Obvious lies with drones. I mean, this is, if you rewatch that stuff, it's completely comical almost, knowing that there were drones there and Brian Harpole trying to give us some emotional theater there, right? Just rewatch it. It's really funny. And yeah, I think it's really weird for them when they really have to try to cover up for their superiors and make everyone forget about the stupid decisions of their superiors. Maybe like
I-
one hot ball.
I've seen two, of course, I've not been in the thick of something just like this before, but I've been around too many investigations involving law enforcement officers over the years, murder investigations, things like that. Just people who were lying as throughout my years as an investigative journalist. And I can see straight through it. I promise you guys. And it has all the red flags, in neon red to me. So I'm convinced.
All right. So it looks like we are getting near the end of our questions and our super chats. We appreciate everyone being on. And if you guys can hit that like and subscribe. Yep.
Can I show the analysis on the test fire that I just did before we close out?
Sure.
Okay, so I wanted to, so what I'm going to do is John Bray's code that he, I guess, open sourced. I am going to very quickly show you that code, and I'm going to run it so you can see how it actually works. Well, not how it actually works, but kind of how it actually works. I am sharing my screen now. So this is the code. It's a Python script, standalone. You have to import CV or pip install open CV Python something. You have to pip install a few things into your Python environment. And this is what the code looks like in VS Code. So if you wanted to run it for yourself, probably just ChatGPT, get help to figure it out for you. But I'm going to run it right now, and you'll see down here at the bottom of the screen, it's processing frame 7 out of 75, 10 out of 75. Basically what it does, in my words, is it's a motion highlighter. So typically when you look at a normal video frame without this software on it, on a single video frame, you cannot tell where movement is. You can only see like one single frame. So it's hard to tell what's moving inside the frame without going back and forth between frames. What this does is it just draws green arrows to show you in one single image where things are moving. So I just think of it as a motion calculator instead of the epicenter detector. I actually turned off the epicenter detector because it didn't really do anything. But now it's done, and we're going to look at the result over here. It already creates the multi-speed on my version of it, but this is what we just did on the test fire tonight. We're going to go to the 0.005 speed real fast. And we'll see what we got. So that's the very first frame. Not typical of what I normally get. And I can show you the other frames that I normally get. But this, you have it going up a little bit. Not the clearest image ever. But then we have this frame. We have it jumping up. And we see the necklace kind of flying up. I think the shirt might not have been in exactly the right position. But we do have another movement going up here, I guess. Looks like the blood was a smidge late, which is actually correct, according to the Charlie Kirk video. So that looks right on. There is a small delay between blood delivery and the pendant gun. So that's John's code at work for you guys. And I also wanted to go to this screen. I think it should be black now.
Yep.
And I'm going to play this. And so you can see all these different frames here. I think I had another one that I wanted to show. I think I forgot to take it over though, but I can, where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? I don't know where it went, but I did so hold on. This isn't what I wanted. Sorry. Which matches Charlie? Here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. I'm going to go back to this screen now. This is a grid. I ran the software on my really long compilation of tests. So you can see here a lot of different tests, or 9 tests, I guess. So this is one that's on my X a lot. This is another one. And then all of these tests are showing basically the exact same thing. All of the arrows pointed up with the hotspot right where the pendant is. And these are all CO2 pendant gun theory setups. And then you look at the one of Charlie, and it's basically identical. So, and you have the same shirt behavior for the most part. I think his was a little bit higher powered than mine. My gun is a little bit underpowered because it has a leak. So I just need to find a more expensive one. But once I find the more expensive one, I think I'm going to have even more similar results. But that just shows you the degree of just accuracy of my tests, according to Charlie Kirk. And then you look at the other simulations and it's not even close. So that's all I had for that. Thank you.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
So what I'm
that's
gonna do
very
here
impressive.
is
I think you are the front runner
Yeah.
now. Yep.
yeah, the work that you've been doing, obviously the dedication, first of all, is impressive, right? Like I would have done it like once or twice and been done. But the fact that you're doing it daily and obviously the cost of it, you guys make sure you go and support them. And real quick, what I'm going to do is show you their actual YouTube pages so you can see, get the right one. So follow Kelly Raybon, KELIRABON. It's at Kelly Raybon. And then Algeist Nydream. And the spelling is there. I will also add this to the description. So if if you come back right after we finish up, then you'll be able to see that. And then Jordan Henshaw, and it's at Jordan Henshaw. So these are the correct ones that you want to look for. And then obviously we appreciate everyone being here. We have 3 last super chats, and then we're going to call it good. Mama Cat, thanks for the super chat. It's likely they want us to know these events are fake. The 33-hour manhunt, 33,000 Epstein files. The ICE officer shot the lady at 33rd Street. Same officer was dragged by a car in June needing 33 stitches. Tyler Robinson turned himself in and was caught at 33 hours. Yeah, there's a lot of symbolism going on here. And I think DD got a podcast, covers it pretty well. I won't mention those things on my channel, but he covers it pretty in depth. And then we have You Don't Want None.
Can I say something? Yeah, this is so funny to me because I made so many videos on Veritasium on a 37 video, and I could show that the most random number is 37. So I'm always so surprised. Why don't they use 37? Why do they use 33? But I know I watch DD, it's a Freemason stuff, but 37 would be smoother, in my opinion.
And You Don't Want None, thanks for the super chat. Why doesn't Candace ask for that part of the footage? I believe the pictures she showed were from a FaceTime that she did, and she maybe snapped pictures during it or something, but so she might not have access to it. And then Silvana Barberi, thanks for another super chat. Matt, you have an excellent show and your guests are awesome. Thank you, much appreciated. And let me see if there's any other last second ones. Subscribe to all, awesome. Thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And yeah, everyone, Jordan, Kelly, Algeist, appreciate you all being on here, and especially Algeist. It's late. He's well into.
It's very late. Yeah, I thought it was going to be 4 hours again, so I'm kind of relieved. But yeah.
Well, now you get to go out dancing.
Yeah, I got time now to go out dancing, but it's Thursday now. Sadly, it's not Saturday. Yeah, but I can practice my dance moves now.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, and everyone else, we appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. Share it around, and we couldn't do it without you. We definitely need your support, and we're going to keep digging. But we'll see you on the next one.
Can I do a?
Yeah, do it. What?